Hi there, I'm Ryan White for highpointmusic.com.au. In today's video I'm going to address the question of what should be the top goals for beginner guitarists. So in this video we're going to cover what the most important guitar goals for beginners to focus on, why you need to be focusing on them, and how to go about working towards reaching them. Okay, before pulling this one apart, let's start from the position that becoming a great guitarist is actually quite a simple process if it's executed over a long enough timeline. Now this is provided you're following the right processes and following the right goals. In the beginning, it's especially easy to get lost and overwhelmed with the sheer amount of content and very common questions like, do I need to learn how to read sheet music? Do I need to understand music theory? What is the best style for beginners to be learning? Or should I be playing electric or acoustic? Now, while these are all really valid questions at a certain point, in the beginning they have the potential to distract people from what they really should be focusing on, which brings us to the next question that nearly everybody overlooks in the beginning, which is what is the act of playing guitar when you really boil it down? So the act of playing guitar, in my opinion, is really nothing more than the use and development of fine motor skills to create music. And if we take that one step further, it would be the act of using fine motor skills to create music that you personally enjoy. Okay, so let's get on to what should be our first guitar goal. First and foremost, it's absolutely vital that you have a conceptual and practical understanding of left and right hand technique. Once you understand this, you then need to start practicing those concepts in context of learning riffs and chord progressions with the goal of being able to play them in time with either a recording or other musicians. So let's jump in and have a look at breaking down these technical concepts. Okay, so to start breaking down the left hand technical concepts, we're going to work with three basic ideas. They are fingertips, fret position, and a neutral wrist position. So let's start off with fingertips. We want to be aiming the center of the finger roughly into our string when we're connecting with each of our fingers. So that's the center of the fingertip that we're aiming as our ideal spot to hit and connect with the strings on the fretboard. Second point we're going to talk about is the fret position. So we want to make sure where we're placing that fingertip is in this half of each fret. So the further back we go, the more string that's between our finger and the fret line here, which means the more effort we have to exert to have a nice, effortless and easy to execute technique. We want to be aiming in that part of the fret. So good fret position there, okay? And then the third basic point is our wrist position. So in order to execute the first 2 points, we want to make sure we don't have an extreme wrist position like that or that. We want to make sure we've got a nice neutral wrist position there. It's okay to have a little bit of bend, but you just want to make sure you're avoiding any extremes, which are going to take our fingertips into a position where we can't execute up on the tips and hitting good fret position. In terms of our right hand technique, really quite simple as well. Once you've got your pick grip worked out, okay, we've just got the pick coming back against the guitar at a right angle. And if you were learning from a finger picking perspective, it's always a great idea to start with the classical approach, which is thumb patrolling the E, A, and D strings like that, and then our first, second, and third fingers, okay, working on the G, B, and E, just like that. Okay, now let's get on to why this should be our first guitar goal. There are many reasons why this conceptual understanding of technique is so very, very important. Firstly, it outlines in really simple terms what practical guitar technique is and why it works. Secondly, an understanding of these concepts allows guitar players to troubleshoot their mistakes and difficulties quite easily. This empowers the student to self-correct in their own practice time, which greatly improves practice efficiency. Other great benefits from this approach are it's simple to follow regardless of your physical makeup and hand size. It works for both single notes and chords. It's needed to understand and develop more complex techniques down the line. And lastly, it applies perfectly to both acoustic and electric playing. Okay, now let's get on to why we then need to start practicing these technical concepts with riffs and chord progressions. The reason why learning riffs and chord progressions with these concepts is such an important goal is because it starts practically solidifying our technique in the guitar's capabilities as a melodic and accompanying instrument. So with learning riffs, we're building the foundation that will lead to more complicated single note playing, for example, solos and complex melodies. And on the other hand, with studying these concepts with chord progressions, we're building the foundation of the guitar's capability as a rhythmic and accompanying instrument. Okay, now for the how part of this video, we're going to talk about 3 things in particular that you need to get right in order to reach the pre-mentioned goals. These 3 points are proper practice process, the steady and controlled repetition process, and then we're going to talk about practice frequency. Proper practice process can be summed up really quite simply. It's nothing more than a program that's perfectly suited to your current abilities and works towards developing the skill sets to move your guitar playing forward. Now, to achieve consistent progress on whatever program you're working with, it has to have the right structure and the right difficulty scaling for you. Now, there's lots of great content and one-off videos with tips and tricks on YouTube from great players and teachers, but it goes without saying you're going to get the fastest results and progress with your playing by working with an instructor that you connect with, either in a one-on-one lesson setting or through an online course. But in the name of trying to give as much value as possible in this video and to try and help guitarists looking to get some ideas on how they can develop proper practice process in their own practice sessions, I would start with the following. For a guitarist completely starting out from scratch, I would first have them learn the technical concepts we've discussed earlier. Secondly, I'd have them work on specific repertoire where they can practice executing those concepts in context. So we're talking basic riffs, 2-finger chord shapes with fundamental strumming and picking patterns. Once you're executing that with either a band or a recording, then progress to slightly more complicated repertoire featuring 3-finger chord shapes and slowly increase the complexity of the riffs. So you're adding in techniques such as slides, hammer-ons, pull-offs and bends over time. Now this will provide a very basic starting point and direction for people to explore, but if you're interested in getting far more in-depth detail on all of these ideas, check out the Hi-Point Music Guitar Fundamentals program. You can easily log on for an obligation-free trial to learn more about everything in relation to mastering the fundamental skill sets of contemporary guitar. Just check out those links in the description. The next point to talk about, in my opinion, is the most powerful concept in terms of developing high-level skills on the guitar, and that's the steady and controlled repetition process. This simple to follow concept works wonders when it comes to getting skills into our subconscious mind, which is where we need to get them if we're going to execute them effortlessly. Now, while this process seems counterintuitive at first, the way to apply it is actually very simple. Firstly, you need to understand the details of what you're wanting to play. Let's say a riff in this case. So you start off making accuracy the #1 priority and get to know the notes in the riff. Now this might only be 1 bar at a time in the beginning, and it doesn't really matter how small the portion of music is. What is important is that you're just focusing on making accuracy the #1 priority and learning the part. Secondly, once you understand the details of the notes and where to place your fingers, for example, then you simply need to repeat it at a tempo where you can play it smoothly and accurately. With each smooth and controlled repetition, you're teaching your subconscious mind to understand and how to execute. And the best part about this process is that the speed will naturally increase the better your subconscious understands the task as a result of these smooth and controlled repetitions. Now, while this seems counterintuitive to some people at first, this process absolutely works like dynamite once you're using it properly. And remember, the way to know you're following it correctly is if you can't play it smoothly and accurately, you're practicing it way too fast. Alright, that brings us to the next part to talk about, which is how often we should be practicing. This one's quite simple once you've addressed the 2 previous points, and the short answer here is that to have consistent improvement in your playing, you should be aiming at 4 to 6 sessions per week, around 20 to 30 minutes in length per session. You can get by on less, say 3 sessions per week, but it's more of a maintenance schedule in my experience, and the improvement won't be as fast as opposed to the 4 to 6 sessions. The thing to keep in mind here is it's the regularity of the sessions that contributes to the growth of our skills rather than the overall practice time. So if you're just getting started and you've currently been practicing 1 to 2 times per week, look, that's okay. But keep in mind that you'll be getting far more benefit and progress by building it up to 4 to 6 sessions per week. So that covers a lot of information regarding the most important goals for beginner guitarists. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to support the channel and stay up to date with our content. And to learn more about today's topics in far more detail, you can follow the links below to check out the Hi-Point Music Guitar Fundamentals program, the online course that will truly set your playing apart by teaching you how to master the fundamental skill sets of contemporary guitar. You can even check it out on an obligation-free trial, so there's no excuses to be stuck in a rut with your playing any longer. And lastly, to become a valued member of the channel, you can sign up to support this content through our Patreon account. Links for that are in the description below. Also, my name is Ryan Wyatt. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch up in the next video.